It's the Center Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Yes! Yes! Yes, this is my favorite part of the game.
Analyzing all of the league matchups week to week.
You can't win!
Get him a body bag! Finish him!
It is a bit above average.
I said this sucks, and basically so do you.
And discussing the boom, bust, and hidden gem players throughout the league.
We ain't found shit!
What the hell is Brett Favre doing here?
I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Laces out.
Touchdown!
And here's your host,
Allow myself to introduce myself.
David Harbatkin.
Hello and welcome to the Center Fantasy Football Podcast for Championship Week. We are finally here. I am your host, David Harbatkin, joined by the commissioner of the league and the coach of the Hackettstown Hagglers, Mr. Gazelutsky.
What's up, fuckers?
And by the, I don't know, how do you want to be introduced on this one? The
I don't. Just move on.
The bronze medal finalist, Manny Friedman, the man who doesn't believe in fantasy gods.
Yeah, but I believe in booger shenanigans. So
Just believe in fantasy. I'm telling you, the fantasy gods are real. He hasn't won since the Target comment. Trust me.
Those of you who don't know what that is.
November 18th.
a third place finish is good for year one of Hackettstown's finest.
If you even get it. Let's see. At this point, you've pissed off the fantasy gods so much. Let's see if they even give you the win against Lombardi. Maybe then, only then, in the end, will you see the power of the fantasy gods.
I'm booking a bronze medal in this league.
It's on the line. We'll certainly cover it. Trust me.
All right.
As somebody who has suffered from the curse of the I want it all and I want it now curse, Geese, you could remind people of what that is. But I mean, just for those who don't know, we were in I guess it was 97 or right, whatever it was, or maybe 90. I don't know. It was the first BFL season in Madden. We talked about this before, how we had the Wang Chung game. But then after that game, I go out and I played Queens, I Want It All, and I Want It Now. Like, I'm going to come back after this. And then I proceeded to go 1-15. I pissed off the fantasy gods at this point, because how dare an arrogant little shit like me say that I want it all and I want it now. When Geese dominated this league, this was for, like, I finished in last place. You know, the Wang Chung game would have just got me into the playoffs. It was the only team not to make the playoffs. How dare I do this? And then how dare I say I want it all and I want it now? And then proceed to go 1-15 that season, and I haven't won since. And that's 22 years. So, you know. And I guess the Whalers curse, who's also in here, by the way, he's not on this podcast, but he's in this championship game. I guess his curse is really it's probably the RCAA president curse. He got elected as RCAA president, and the organization dissolved under his reign, and he has not won a championship in the center since taking over as RCAA president. His last win, because I actually pulled up, this is how prepared I am for this one. I pulled up the BHL.20m.com. His last championship was the 17 Semi-Cup Finals on May 3rd, 2000. So,
wow.
Yeah. So what is that? How many years was that, Keys? You did the math?
Yeah, 2000.
Right, no, so I'm saying 19 for him, 22 for
19 and 22. That's over 40 years of championship drought between the two The two finalists who are battling right now. There's a lot at stake.
41 years. I happen to be 41 years old.
This is for as long as Harbakin has been alive. Is the combined drought of the championships between you and Whalers, who already has a championship, by the way. He's won some BHL championships.
He three-peated.
Three-peated. You have literally a Carl plate.
I also have the BBO. I have the Basement Boxing Organization Championship. I upset
First of all,
Minor in Evander
the
Holyfield
organization was a joke. Of all of our Genesis, now mind you, Manny, I don't even think you've ever seen a Genesis. I would be shocked and appalled if you knew what a Genesis was.
I've seen a Sega Dreamcast.
No, that was after.
Actually, the Dreamcast was after. That's way advanced. That's so much further advanced than a Genesis.
Groundbreaking technology.
I've seen a Nintendo 64.
There you go. That's after our heyday.
Yeah, I mean, like the Dreamcast. Remember when we looked at that? What was it? The Sega Saturn or whatever? It was like, oh my god, it almost looks real. This is amazing.
Now, Minor actually had a Dreamcast for a very brief amount of time. Like, that was groundbreaking technology for us, Manny. So it predates the Dreamcast. I'm going to bring in a Sega Genesis to work, so you can see this dust-covered piece of crap and be like, this is the foundation for your whole organization.
Well, actually, we started on Nintendo. Well, like, not Nintendo 64. Nintendo Baseball, where literally if you hit it to the left side, you would get on base. Because the third baseman couldn't make the throw to first base.
Right, because the power of the pixels, the guy couldn't throw it across the diamond. I don't even know why they bothered to have a left side of
I don't know.
The diamond. You couldn't even throw it. I mean, Manny, we're going back to the Stone Age as a video.
Yes.
Wow.
So we're going back that far. So Whalers has won. So yeah, I mean, to go to the BHL page, he's won one game or one championship. Sorry. He won he's won two this century.
So I know the Whalers.
Sorry, he won his entire three-peat in the year. I apologize. He won his entire three-peat in that semester. In the 2000. February 18th, 2000 was his first championship. March 22nd, 2000 was his second. And May 3rd, 2000 was his.
So February. So we played 3 complete seasons in 3 months.
Yeah, that's what we used to do. And by
that's
the way,
what losers we are in college.
Yeah, I know. He won his first one 4-0. He won his second one 4-0, and then he won 4-3 in the last one.
So
and he beat the Nordiques in this. So the same opponent every time.
We use all these RCAA terms in the center and the BFL and the BHL. Imagine our fantasy football league that we had this season, and this is your first season in here. Like you've been indoctrinated into a brotherhood. Imagine all 12 of us together in a college basement playing real video games against each other. Can you imagine the level of trash talking?
Oh, it must have been mayhem.
It was outlandish. Like, to this day, successful businessmen and women are ridiculed because of their performance in this Genesis video game league.
There were broomsticks taped on doors.
Right. So we're playing
like
so
nailed
we're playing
to the
football.
dorm room
so
door.
It's like real NFL players, and Yahoo's keeping track, and you're trash talking on the podcast. Imagine being live face to face, all 12 of us in a room, and you have to sit down and play the Whalers, and each of you have a controller, and you're playing a video game against the Whalers,
like next to them.
It got pretty intense.
I don't know if I could handle that.
It's insane. Okay, this is the foundation of our organization. Like, this is it. Fantasy football is so spread out. There's no names. There's no faces.
Yeah.
You just watch the Giants fumble it away on national TV. Who cares? Imagine you're sitting, Whalers is nose to nose. And this is like Game 7 of a championship in hockey. And you're like, I'm going to beat this motherfucker.
Not even I'm going to beat this motherfucker. I'm going to beat you. And you're sitting right to the left of me. Kind of thing. Like the intensity.
He's trash talking to your face. And can you imagine what a loss does? Like, right now you've lost. And, like, you walk away.
Hello?
Yahoo. Can you imagine losing people and humiliation? You want to win.
And you have an entire crowd behind you.
I mean, I'm humiliated losing in year 1.
We used to have tickets. We would not sell, but we would give away tickets to the final because you had 7 TVs in this one room, and the entire, basically organization would come there and watch these games and cheer for their, whoever they wanted to win, and so you're sitting there with the intensity of all of this, like inches away from this other person. You can walk away on this one and be like, like you can't imagine what it's like to have gone, like, even if we were to replicate, which Wellers had talked about when we interviewed him earlier this season. He talked about starting up a new league, and I'd like to actually do that after the season is over. We should talk to him about figuring out how to do that with one of these, with Madden or FIFA or something, and to anybody else who's interested, obviously. Even there, it's not the same. It was kind of the same when you played Ben for the championship, except
Yeah, but then again, I was right there next to him.
Yeah.
Manny, there's no substitute for sitting down in a chair next to your opponent and playing a video game like a foot away from him with a crowd screaming and yelling and cheering, and like you played this whole season to get first place, and now you're playing this guy. And it's like a championship is on the line, Game 7. And it's a video game. You think this is stupid. This is Genesis. Genesis hockey. How bad can it be? It's intense, dude. Yeah. It's intense. And then the ceremony after you win, they put the video in the VCR. We had VCRs. Right. You put the tape in for Coming to America, the Randy Watson song, and you get to sing it in front of everybody. Like,
and make up your own lyrics, whatever you want. You don't have to sing the actual lyrics.
I had won 6 in a row and just had gotten so complacent that when they watched a video of me making fun of the entire league like you would have done, they were so angry, and it spawned the Whalers' dominance for the next 3 years.
and Minor also won because of that.
Yep.
And I even beat you.
Yep.
Like, that's the thing. I mean, and that's kind of even what I said about the Hagglers earlier this year. I didn't feel, it felt like the old Hagglers. And when I talk about the fantasy gods, whatever it is, whatever the energy is, I don't know. But you can sense generally when somebody's going to just do, I don't know what it is. But, you just, like, I saw Nick and Jamie coming on from nowhere. Just because you sense it. I don't know what it is.
Me and Manny were talking earlier. Manny's like, he wanted to start his own, like, fantasy football league next year. And he's like, but I want to get it up to the level that you guys have. But it's not just the 5 or 6 or 7 seasons of this. It's 20 years in the making, Manny.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much history involved. Like,
yeah, you can't. I mean, like, you'd have to.
I understand it's very hard to replicate, but I have a strong group of friends, and I was thinking, it'd be a cool idea to try to replicate that kind of level. But the thing is, it's hard to find those, like, a group of, like, 12 ultra competitive people, who will go as far as rooting for injuries.
Yeah, but it's not even that. It's beyond just the ultra competitive people. Because, yes, we have 12 ultra competitive people. But then you add the history. You add 20... I mean, when did it start? 97, 22 years of history of battling with each other over this stuff. It's, I'm not saying you can't run a successful fantasy. This is the only
fantasy league that if we were playing for no money whatsoever,
which we practically are.
Right, pretty much. Yeah, it's scraps. But I'm just as crazy about winning, even though it's for very little money. Yeah. If it was for no money, I probably would be just crazy.
Absolutely. And because the Semi Cup was about no money.
Right.
Like the Randy Watson trophy was about no money. All of this is about, I mean, this is the only league that's ever been about any bit of money. And it's
just about pride and ego.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Trust me, I don't even know Gaten Casimir, and there's a run.
Yeah, we've met him twice, and that's the other thing. So then in addition to all this, we have the Center Bowl every year, which has been going on for this will be the 21st Center Bowl. So literally every year on Super Bowl Sunday for the last 21 years, we have gone to a different city and gotten together. Not all of us every year. I mean, sometimes it's, it's always a different crowd that comes. But, and for the first 15, we would, now we've kind of we play like a different game. Like we played an NHL tournament when we were in West Palm. But prior to that, we would actually physically go out there and play a football game. The first few years was tackle with no pads. That was fucking brutal. Whalers put on a hit on Nick in the second center bowl. Like Nick was just he came across and like this was like NFL level and with no pads. Just decked him. And then Nick gets up and he's like, all right, I'm ready to go. So, meanwhile, he was probably like, ah. And so Gaten Casimir, we've met him the 2 times because he was Odwin's cousin, Dr. Hockey's cousin. And he came in, so the first time, and then, so mind you, there's these rivalries that are built, not only the individual rivalries that we all had, but we had the Scottco, Harlutz, Mineri, Groko rivalry, which we had talked about, which were like these, you just kind of, there were a couple people that stayed out of it, like Sorrow and whatnot, that were just like, my own thing, but you had these 2 conglomerations that just formed. That's how Nick got the term the LB, because we would just funnel players, like shitty players, to him. Because Scottco
LB stands for league's bitch,
right? because Scott would he had his trading block, and we started calling him Scottco because everybody would just give him the best players, and they'd be like, "Yes, my master, what do you need?" So then we were like, "Well, fuck this, we're never gonna be able to compete." if he's getting all this. So we formed our own thing, and where we would trade players, our own trading block amongst ourselves. Like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? We need to go beat these guys. It was like the Cold War. It was like the Russians, or the Soviets in the U.S. Anyway, so then this translated into the Center Bowl, in the Center Bowl games, because we'd go out in the field and it would be Scottco generally versus us. Versus Harlutz, Mineri, Groko. And then, so then we get to Center Bowl 5 in Washington, D.C. This was the first one that we had traveled to, because all the rest, so the first one was in Manalapan. The next 3 were in Brooklyn. And there were some epic games, like snow up to your knees and, all this other stuff. So then we get to the 5th one. And the one before that had been the only one that was, like, canceled midway because somebody injured their finger and we had to take them to the hospital. That was the boob game. That was the Janet Jackson whatever game, which I never saw. So anyway, so we get to Washington D.C. and Gaten Casimir comes in and just dominates us. Like it's like it was Whalers, Lombardi, Gaten Casimir. Who was their other teammate? I could probably pull up the picture, but who was their other teammate? Because it was you, me, Odwin.
Probably Nick.
Nick must have been. Yeah, it was definitely.
Must
Nick.
have been Mike Leon.
Was it Leon? Did he go to one? I don't know. There's a picture.
If it was Washington, it was Mike Leon.
Was it?
Washington D.C. was the first time we got steamrolled by Gaten Casimir.
Right, that was the first time. So he comes in and he just kicked the shit. I mean, it was like he was just far superior to any of us. Like, and we were still playing tackle back then. It was like, Jesus, let's get away from this. So then the next year, it was in L.A. and there was like this gigantic argument amongst our team. Like, we need to practice. Mind you, Whalers isn't even at this game at this point. I don't think Whalers. I mean, Whalers hasn't been at a Center Bowl since probably the 5th one. So, did he come to the one in? No, he didn't even come to the one in Jersey. Yeah, no. So. So like the whole week we're out in LA. This was like right after I'd first moved out here. Everybody had come out, and like there was like just a contingent of like Lombardi and Dr. Hockey who were like, I'm not practicing. I just want to go out and enjoy my vacation. And the other half of like, we need to practice. Like that's how intense it got on all of this stuff. And Gaten Casimir, by the way, so he played one other time. What was the other Center Bowl that he played? Philadelphia, was it? Or no, that was Monkey.
No.
That was Monkey who came in and just beat the hell out of us. I've never been in that much pain.
No, that was near your dad's apartment. It was Manalapan, and he just ran roughshod over everybody.
Oh, was that oh yeah, he came back for 15, 16? I don't know. The one in Jersey, the second time.
I don't know. He just ripped his whole freaking sweatshirt overcoating off, and you just knew that we were going to get steamed because it was freezing outside.
Right.
He just rips his whole thing off like Zeus from Friday. Fuck you, Gaten Casimir. I mean, that was a physical beatdown.
Right. So he came down and physically beat us down. Every time he would play against the center, he would just destroy us. It was devastating because, like some of those games, so the games were not always Scott Go versus Herlos Minerigo. Sometimes it was, a lot of times, it was the center versus some other entity, like, or either that or it was always Geese versus me and some, like, we would pick teams somehow. But, yeah, I mean, so he comes in, kicks the shit out of the center all the time, and then he comes into the fantasy league, with the history of kicking the shit out of us, and then it's like, all right, you're now on our our field, you're on our turf now, and he has had success in this league, certainly, but I think for Geese especially, there's an extra level of satisfaction to be like, all right, you may have kicked the shit out of me here, but I'm gonna get you somewhere else. I'm gonna, and that's just like the stuff that has built up over all these years.
Yep.
Which brings us to this final. I mean, it's like all of that in one. But yeah, and we could discuss that further. But let's get into the semifinals matchups.
All right. So before we get into the matchups, I just wanted to publicly apologize to the Whalers about. If you revisit the week, I think 4 or 5 podcast where I was bashing him for his weak strength of schedule. So I just wanted to publicly apologize because he has indeed paid his dues this year and he has beaten some quality opposition like he did last week against the Finest. So
that's good. Humbleness before the fantasy gods does well for you.
It's a little bit too late for me to get my karma back, but I don't know. I'm rooting for the Whalers just because I just want to hear the hissy fit from you next weekend. Next week, I'm gonna make that public as well.
Really? Everybody's rooting against me.
I thought it would be just the opposite.
I said I would root for you in your stupid bronze medal game. Fine, Lombardi, you get my support, even though you're rooting for Wales, but at least you have a historical connection to him. You, et tu, Brute? He really is becoming a Eugene. You want to find out the path that you're following? I'll tell you the path that you're following. So
going down the dark side. You are the Sith Lord.
Yeah, but we will get you a championship next year, by the way. So
exactly. I will take the Eugene path because he won a championship.
This is what he did. The first year he came in like a brash MF. I mean, like, granted, Eugene has been around forever. Like, he's not just somebody new. I mean, he used to be in the dorms with us. But he comes into this league out of nowhere. And he's a brash, trash-talking everything. He comes in the first season, and he was pretty damn dominant. He was having a season very much like what you did. And then he faced Geese in the semifinal game. Geese in his miraculous, in his year, his season of destiny, where Geese just came in, and Antonio Brown got injured on that one play, and then Geese ends up winning that game. And so he had lost out of nowhere. And the next season he comes back, and he wins it all.
Yeah, but he shafted his way to the championship.
Of course. But that's part of the dark side. That's part of being a Sith Lord, which is what he seems to be doing right now. And then
I do not plan on shafting people. I just plan on winning with good performance from my part.
We'll see. The dark side is very tempting. Trust me, the dark side is very tempting.
Yeah, maybe I'm on my way to the Darth Vader path.
Based on the Eugene path, I am predicting a 2022 Trey for yourself. Congratulations. In fact, I almost think that we should start there. The Trey game. He completed it. He did it. In resounding fashion. Zamundo 140.28 to 107.78 against Dave Secret Crush. He did it. He has a bronze. He has a gold. And now he has a Trey.
So against his fellow Twix bar, he gets blown out.
That's quite amazing. That's astounding. He just needs a silver now. Let's see if he can get the silver next year, and he will have it all. Way to go, Eugene.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so, all right.
All right, so there's my public apology. You can also read my soliloquy on the Facebook group if you would like. But
sure
that being said, I will get third place, and Lombardi's going down this week, to say the least.
We shall see. Let's see if the gods take your little whatever. All right, so so which championship game or semifinal game do you want to start with?
Let's start with yours.
With mine, okay. So this was the 1 o'clock Eastern game, right, or whatever, the 3 o'clock Eastern game that nobody was watching. There were some doubters for our team last week. We had a projection of 131. We have around the same projection. We ended up with 175.98. Not too bad. Not too bad. Starting out with Lamar Jackson with 47.08 points on that Thursday night game. I felt pretty good after that Thursday night game.
On a fucking torn quad or whatever he was suffering. I mean, come on.
I know. The man was clearly hobbled. He was clearly. And actually, but the bigger thing was that he had the Baltimore defense, and having the ball, because the Baltimore defense had about 11 points or something. So the thing that I was watching that game because he had 15 points from Andrews, and then the defense had a bunch of points. So he was actually I wasn't keeping pace, but he was about halfway of what Lamar had. And you still had Mahomes going, you still had a whole bunch of other stuff going. But it was when the Jets finally scored some garbage time touchdowns. Well, first they had the missed field goal, and I'm like, really? You can't just give them the negative 3 points on with that? And they came back with a touchdown and the 2-point conversion and all this other stuff, which really knocked it down. And I started to feel a little bit confident, like, okay, I think we have good matchups elsewhere. And you never doubt it, or you always doubt it. I always doubt it, but yeah, we overcame it. I mean, look, DJ Moore with 20 points. A lot of that was on garbage time. Complete and utter garbage time. In fact, he had like almost nothing before that. I turned on the game, and they're just slinging the ball down there. Same thing with McCaffrey, honestly, who had 37.5 points. But, I mean, he had a touchdown in garbage time, too. I mean, he's still going to get his points. Slayton with only 11.1, which, ironically, 11.1 for Fuller. So I literally played the maximum lineup I could. I feel good about myself this last week. And he got his on the touchdown, but otherwise he was really non-existent in that game. Chris Thompson, 4.6 points. This is the one place that I have not been able to do anything. Mind you, I've been doing this without an RB2 this entire freaking season.
Ironically, you would pick an ex-haggler like Chris Thompson for your RB2.
Yeah, and he still does nothing. Waller, 20.2 points. Parker with 23.2. That's when I really felt like, all right, we got this. When Devontae Parker got when he got the garbage time touchdown against the Giants, and it made it like 147 or whatever, and I'm like, and we still had Waller going and everything else. I'm like, all right, I think we got this.
That was an excellent pickup. I was thinking about Devontae Parker at the same time you were, kind of, and I think you may have outbid me.
I don't remember, but yeah, it was definitely around the same. Yeah, I might have. It was definitely around the same time. Either that or like you had mentioned on the podcast, like, oh, I was thinking about him. I don't know, but either way, yeah, there was definitely. I know somebody that was on your radar. We like both of ours right at the same time.
Yeah, excellent pickup.
So Mahomes with 27, 11.6 for Metcalf, only 4.7 for Deebo Samuel. Aaron Jones with 17.1. He kept getting. Vultured touchdowns down at the goal line. That was starting to concern me, but, whatever. Breda, my former running back, only ends up with 1.7 points. 15.2, as I mentioned, by Andrew. 18.9 from Keenan Allen in that horrific game. 16 from his kicker, and as I previously mentioned, 6 from the Baltimore defense. I mean, there were some players out there, Carlos Hyde, I guess, or Odell or Brown that would have gotten more points, but he just didn't have the points this game. And he really didn't, I feel like Lombardi just shut it down after the Odell thing. Then he made the one trade for Aaron Jones, and then he just let Cyberdyne do it all season, and he set it and forget it, and he was winning games. But I'm very happy. Let me just say, I'm very happy to win this more than anything else, just because I work my ass off to get to this point. And if a computer can just go in there who puts no effort and whines the entire time, it was going to piss me off. If I lose to the Whalers, I will have lost to him. He freaking works his ass off all season long. He keeps doing stuff. I mean, like, he even to this day he's still doing stuff. I mean, if he wins, then
fucking outbidding me on the Denver defense.
Yeah, I mean, he's constantly working. I mean, even you. Ugh.
Yeah.
But you work hard. You don't take
right.
for granted. You don't just sit there and just waltz right into the final. So,
yeah.
I mean, Geese, the year that he won, he worked harder than anybody that I've known. Like, I mean, you must have been studying weather reports and stuff. like getting stuff in directly from the National Weather Service. I don't know. All I know is that, one of the things that we've tried to do, especially like with the auction and everything else, is just to build something where at the the harder you work, the better you get. So like all this stuff like, oh, well, I don't know, maybe we could move the draft, or the free agent auction bidding to Thursday morning or Saturday morning or Sunday after I've played my games, then I could see if I want. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I don't know.
And the insider trading comments, I mean, it's just enough.
Yeah, the ones that were originally directed at me earlier in the season, which led me to mockingly say the same to Whalers, which he thought was serious, which is just a sign of the social media age, and then gets us into this whole heated thing that was like, I was just joking at that time, and we don't have to rehash that whole thing. But you're right. Manny, you're putting me in a disgusting position. I don't know who to root for in that third place game. Ew. I don't know. It's just so loathsome. Ugh.
I mean, I like you. I like your team, but I just want to hear the hissy fit.
I actually don't think you're going to get it. I don't. And I'll get into the reason why later. I don't think you're going to get it this time.
Trust me, it will come when you're, 0-8 in championship games?
We're not there yet. I've
trash talking.
I've lost 3.
Up again. He's like Jekyll and Hyde trash talker.
No, I know. He is. I've lost. So I've lost 2. If I lose this one, I will have lost 3. He has lost 3 already. And if he
so you're 0-8 combined.
No, we're 0-5 combined so far.
Okay,
and
so
after this one, we will be 1-7 combined.
1-7 combined. Okay, so, but to lose 3 straight championship games, I mean that's approaching Bills territory. I don't think
but it's not
you'll be able to. Okay.
It's every other year.
Excuses.
No, it's not even excuses. I'm just explaining to what it is. It's every other year, essentially, except for 1 year where Tillett Trey made it into the final against LeVar in season 4, I believe it was. But otherwise, yeah, first year was him, second year was me, third year was him, fourth year was Tillett, fifth year was him, sixth year was me. And now
so you'll be like the Peyton Manning of the center fantasy football. Because,
me?
Well, yeah, you get to high leverage playoff games and come up short.
No,
I'm the John Elway.
He's Dan Marino.
I'm Dan Marino.
Dan Marino? Dan
Elway.
Marino.
I could be
All
John
right.
Elway.
Dan Marino is a better comparison.
Dan Marino's has always been the comparison that I've had in football. But I'm hoping to become John Elway.
Well, then you'll need 2 in a row.
I'm fine with that. I'm not going to object to that if that happens. I'm just saying, look at if you look at what Elway did, he lost his first 3, pretty much in dominating. You know, like so. You know, he played the Giants in Super Bowl 21, and then he played the Redskins, lost there, and then who was the other one that he lost to? Or was there one before that?
He got killed by the 49ers. Marino.
Oh yeah, right. And then he comes back, and he was supposed to get killed by the Packers that year. And then he did the helicopter thing, and then was that year? That was that year, right?
Are you talking about Marino or John Elway?
I'm talking about John Elway.
Oh, John Elway, his first one that he got massacred by, I don't know, probably the 49ers. I'm sure the 49ers. Everybody just
Marino
killed him.
only had one Super Bowl appearance.
And it was against the 49ers.
It was against the 49ers in Stanford, and he got pummeled. Right. No, but Elway, I think he had 3 prior to getting, didn't he?
Didn't the Giants trample the Broncos?
Well, yeah, they absolutely did in Super Bowl 21. And then so did the Redskins.
Yep.
And then did they play the San Francisco 49ers again? They played the 49ers, right?
It's probably the 49ers again.
Yeah, they did in the Superdome. They just trampled them. They absolutely destroyed them. And then years later, they were supposed to get trampled again by Brett Favre, and the Packers, and they upset them. So I'm hoping to write that story. Of course, I guess if I write that story, I got to lose to the Whalers this year, which might happen. We'll see. I don't know. All right, but that's my game. And then going on to this game. What are you watching TV now? You've tuned out already. All right. So the other
No, I'm not cooking anything. Don't worry.
Okay. The other semifinals game, the vaunted evening game. What is it? The 6 p.m. game. As the mighty Whalers move on, defeating the Hackettstown's finest 163.62 to 139.32. He did have to go to Monday night to do it. Yeah, so it ended up, let's see, what is that, 24-point victory? Ironically, his defense got 27.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, look, the performances are good. So he has Deshaun Watson gets 22.92, 30 from Michael Thomas. I mean, Michael Thomas has been ridiculous. So is Allen Robinson. That bears all of them. Anthony Miller, too. I mean, they just pass a lot over there. Melvin Gordon only had 7.4, 8.9 from Singletary, 17.10 from Ertz because there's nobody else there. So he's just been on fire. Tyler Lockett out of nowhere, 26 points. And then Tucker 4 and 27 for the Minnesota defense. He also left 18.6 for Mixon on the bench. Now, granted, Mixon was playing New England, so you don't even want to. But you know, when he's talking about like scoring 200 points, I think it's because he has the confidence in Mixon. Because, dear God, Sterling Shepard had 20.1 points on the bench. Yeah, and that was it. Like he literally doesn't even have anybody else there. For the finest, 16.42. I think there was a math scenario I did on Facebook that said what you could have done to win. So I think you had to play Fitzpatrick. You had to play
John Brown
and John Brown. And if you would have done that, you would have edged him out. I think you would have gotten 169. But I mean, like, you can't really, and instead of Emmanuel Sanders. So you get 16.42 for Rodgers, 17.9 from Hopkins. Is this Emmanuel Sanders? Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders with only 2.9.
2 receptions for 9 yards. What a bitch.
Way to come up big in that in the big spot. Chubb with 23.8, Gurley with 20.8. I mean, look, your 2 running backs ended up being okay. Kelsey with 25.2. 7 for Landry, 7.3 for Landry. Elliott, my buddy, you do have him. 7 points, and Buffalo with 18 points. So it's not like your defense was no slouch in this game either.
No, definitely not. And I pretty much just matched my projection. I was debating between Rodgers and Fitzpatrick going into the game. And, Rodgers is one of the top, 5-6 quarterbacks in the league. So if you don't play him and he goes off for 50 points, which, he has a higher ceiling.
Well, then you're Dr. Hockey, bench blunder.
Yeah, I mean, you get, or
exactly.
I don't know, but this is why I actually envy the 2017 Hagglers so much. They had none of this.
Yeah, I had none of these superstars.
he just went out there and he's like, I don't care if this is a big name. You have a shit game. You're benched. That's it. You're done. I don't care. There's a level of freedom in that. I think that's the most appreciated fantasy performance that I've ever seen.
You don't even understand.
That's incredible.
What happened there. People just
I
said,
looked
you
at that
lucked
roster that beat the 1603ers, just on my free time, and I was like, who the hell is this guy?
That is.
I mean, it was I can't believe that you won that. Even
to get to the finals, to have to. I mean, but if you would have looked at the roster the week before, it would have been completely different.
Yep.
He went out and basically essentially played.
Talking bona fide superstars thrown in the garbage. Like a madman. Like, why would you do
that? And then picked up by his opponent, who would then not, who would not have such a great game. He's like, well, I don't know. He just clicked into another level on that.
Yep.
And I was saying this. I don't know if it was before the podcast or is it starting to say this. So there's that element of it. But then there was just a mental element of how he beat me mentally, and this is why I'm saying I don't think you're going to see the freak out after this. I mean, if I were to lose, I'll be sad. There's no doubt you don't get to this point. These opportunities are few and far between. You have to appreciate them when they're here, and I don't take that for granted. And I obviously really want to win. And yes, I will be sad if I don't win. But this is the first time, like when I played hockey the first time, I felt confident. I was riding Andrew Luck all season, and I forgot the other players that I had. But Andrew Luck, I mean, he had even come back. I remember I was visiting a friend in the hospital, and there was like a Monday night game. And I needed like 40 points on a Monday night from Andrew Luck. Or like I needed 39 points and he got 40, and like and it was like against Sean. It was against some amazing team, and I was riding Luck all season long. I remember the headlines that I put. Like, I mean it's luck, whatever. Like, looks like we had good luck or whatever. I don't know, whatever. And then we get to the finals, and so I feel completely confident. And, if I look back at that season, the one thing that I should have done is hockey actually offered me Odell Beckham that year, ironically. But that's also, mind you, that was the season. So that was the season where we went 0-2. We had the veto. We were an angry fucking team. Because after that veto, we became madmen. Because we just wanted to say fuck you to everybody else. Because the veto really pissed me off. And I don't need to get into it, but I mean, in retrospect, I don't even care. But just the fact that I had a trade literally overturned by the commissioner. and I got blamed as if I ripped off this guy. I'm like, well, he's supposed to be in the league. Once again, making fun of Jamel or whatever. Keeps randomly posting about his own fucking fantasy like we give a shit. Why are you posting in the center? I mean, I don't even comment. I don't even acknowledge his existence. but it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you even posting in the center? I don't even know. I'm sure he won't get this far in the video. And if he does, oh well. It is what it is.
He's combing the video of Dave looking for these kind of...
He does. He comments about how we don't play his fucking theme song. Which was terrible, by the way. And second of all, it was when Nick was the host of the show. So yes, we changed the theme song. You're not even in the fucking league. I don't give a shit that Jameis Winston went off on your fucking, I don't know, your loser league that you're playing in. That you quit this league, by the way, because of Kaepernick or whatever 3 years ago you said. And now you're still playing fantasy football? Fuck you. Fuck you. Anyway. But, so we were, and that was because he was an idiot. I actually offered him a trade that was a little bit fairer than the trade that was vetoed, and he offered me an even dumber deal. Of course I'm gonna fucking take it. And then I got blamed for I don't even know what, like as if I took advantage of a child. Well, I'm like, then why is this fucking guy in the goddamn league? And he was actually reasonably successful in the league, annoyingly. But anyway, so it gets vetoed. I get lambasted. I still have the reputation of being the shenaniganizer. I think a lot stems from that. There's probably other stuff that does too, but I think, especially in this league, I think it stems from that instant, and it pissed me off. And we rode that fire to the final. We did. And then luck absolutely shit the bed. And I also I turned down the trade for Odell Beckham the year that he was ridiculous, and instead got, I don't know, who was like the receiver on the Colts. It was some loser. Some loser. Beckham really is what won it for Dr. Hockey. He saw him early, he got him, and that's what won it for hockey that year. The time against Geese, I lost because I was overconfident. I mean, I made all the public statements of, yeah, he's a good team, blah, 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 whatever. Got to take it one game at a time, one snap at a time, whatever it is.
All the bullshit cliches, which I saw right through.
Right. We all knew.
I knew you were confident. I knew you.
So were you booger before me?
No. Like, what does that have to do with it?
What? Cliches?
Booger,
trash talk?
Booger is
confidence?
Booger is just... I don't think you understand the booger analogy. Booger is... It's like, where did that come from?
Okay.
Like, no, cliches are just any athlete.
Okay.
But yeah,
I see that.
So there was an absolute level of overconfidence. So then you couple that with, I mean, he goaded. I don't know how much you goaded me into it or whatever else, but I mean, just all the talk all the week, and I don't know. And then I like you said, I became a madman, and I just wanted to stick it to you. Like both of these other times were about sticking it to my opponents and sticking it to the league and all this other stuff. And, and it was like, fuck you, Lutsky. Ah! And here I'm going to put in Gillisley. And here I'm going to do all this other stuff to fuck with you. Because it's not just enough to just win.
He emptied his whole bench and picked up everybody that I would have picked up in the 4:00 game.
It was just...
how far can you go?
It was just, and it was just, it was really about just, I don't know, about my opponents. This is the first time that I'm kind of zen about it, and this is why I don't think I'm going to freak out about it. I mean, look, that year really bugs me because of the mistakes that I made, and I know that it was in hand. This year, I drafted a fantastic team. A team that nobody saw, I got, I mean, you had the stuff about McCaffrey, like, oh, I can't believe you paid that much for McCaffrey. Everybody overlooked Lamar Jackson. I got him for $2. $2.
So do you wear, like, Lamar Jackson underoos now? Like, he's your favorite player?
Oh, my God, I love the man. I mean, but even everybody else, DJ Moore, all this other stuff. And, and like, all right, the whole season you're going on, like, haha, your team is only 2 players. And I'm saying, like, okay, well, I still have Devontae Jenkins, but whatever. Waller, nobody looked at. I studied a lot to get this team. And I kind of, and I don't have to, I'm finally at the point where I just feel like, you know what? I don't really have to prove anything to anyone. I don't. I'd like to beat Whalers. But it's not because I want to beat Whalers. Come on. The man has won 3 semi-cups and has been to 4 finals. I don't have to stick anything to him. He loses this game, he still has my respect as a fantasy football player. You don't get to 4 finals in fantasy and not have, to the people that wouldn't respect that, you're fools. I mean, this guy walks out. I mean, how much money has he profited off of this league? 65 plus, so he makes a profit of at least, not counting whatever the season is, he's at least making $35 a season in addition to all of his wins. The man, he knows what he's doing. He's a good player. So I'm not trying to stick it to the Whalers. I mean, and I think there's just a zen, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen because this is going to be the first time that I'm not because there's absolutely the opportunity to look at this opponent and go, like everything else, like I did with Geese, like I did with Dr. Hockey, who he had his own revenge that he needed to exact upon me from the the hey goodbye series where I swept him 4 in a row. And I want to beat Scotco just because it's this rivalry that's been going on forever. I think it's a great opponent. The history of this game that's behind this game and everything else is fantastic. But if ultimately it doesn't happen this year, we lined up the best team that we could. This was a team that we drafted. I mean, I don't even think that there were any.
You lined up the best 2 players that you could.
I mean, I lined up a little bit more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, it looks like Carryon Johnson might come back. That was the one trade I made. That was I don't know if it was the one trade, but it was like the mistake. It was. And we might actually be able to use him. And look, we're just gonna line them up, and if we either do it or we don't. And this is the other thing. I planned out this roster for the most part weeks ago, and there's not many decisions that I have to make. I have to make a decision at RB2. That's the only decision I have to make. And look, maybe I'll regret it all off season that I just couldn't come up with an RB2 that could beat this team. But I don't have to stick it to the Whalers. I don't have to do anything. I just want to go out there and play. This is the first time I'm not shenaniganizing at every moment. Or I don't care. Like, the Whalers will do what he's going to do. We're going to do what we're going to do, and we'll see who ends up getting it.
That was the most cliche-loaded 5 minutes I've heard in sports.
I mean, but it's true.
The Whalers, I hope your BS-o-meter is the Geiger's in the red. That was, I think Lamar and McCaffrey are going to stomp all over you, bitch. That's flashback to 2017 Hagglers. They're such a great team. They got a great coach. Everything's great. I beat them by 100 points, but that was nothing. It was lucky. They've got a great coach. Hats off to them. It's like Brady and Belichick after they beat you 100-0. Hats off. That was a great team. On to the next one. They've got really great players and a great coach and a great trainer and a great water boy. Armakian, you are riding Lamar and McCaffrey. I hope these 2 guys come out of the tunnel and break their ankles.
My kicker already has. They already have.
Yeah. That would be great.
First of all, I take no shame in riding McCaffrey and Lamar Jackson. This is not something that I got in some Shafto trade or anything else. This was a player that was available to every. I got Lamar Jackson for $2.
No, what you have
$3 would have beaten it.
You have the Deshaun Watson that I should have had years ago.
Sure.
And you're getting to watch it play out the whole season where my guy tore his ACL in the fucking practice.
Yes, by the way, that was the season that you won it all. Because Deshaun Watson tore his ACL in the practice, it made you go from like, oh, look at this mode, to fuck this, you're all going to the trash. Deshaun Watson, who ironically I'm going to play in this final, is the one.
Yeah, oh, look how I didn't even realize that. That's the curse of the Bambino right there.
It could very well be. This is why I'm resigned to whatever happens. My kicker is going down. All the signs are pointing to the way.
There are so many subplots in this way, Manny. You don't even realize.
I know. This is not me. Oh, nice try, Hannity. This is not
Hannity.
O'Reilly in your spin zone. No, this is not me being like, oh, no, this is me looking at this and going, look, the kicker's going down again. Everything's going down. I'm playing Deshaun Watson again in this game. He's playing Tampa Bay. All of it. Like, it's just like, if we're going to lose, we're going to lose. I don't know what to do at this point. This is the roster that I want. And if they can't do it, then they can't do it.
Well, I looked at the matchups. There's only everybody plays during the day. There's only one Sunday night player.
I know, and there's no Monday night. Actually,
I was going down tonight.
I know. I was because Whalers originally had the Minnesota defense on the Monday night game, and it wasn't. I had no. I mean, I don't think that would have been a good play or anything, but I looked at it and I'm like, oh man, I don't want just one hanging out there on Monday. I don't want this like if it's just close, and even if it's not, I mean, this is a defense that scored 27 last week. Now, I don't think they're going to do that again, but I'm like, I don't want this just hanging out there, like, for one more day. Like, either way, just, like, let's just decide this on Sunday. Let's get this over with. So I'm very happy about that. My schedule is cleared to watch this. We also have Saturday games. We don't have Thursday games this week.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one big Saturday game. It's that other one. But anyway, we could get into the intricacies of the specific game after this. Is there anything else that you want to say about your game with the Whalers in the semifinals? Because that's technically what we're covering right now.
You mean? Oh, no.
I'm talking about the semifinal. Oh, by the way, congratulations, Geese. You're in the consolation final against the Monkeys.
There's actually a consolation final?
Yeah, congratulations. You made it. You beat Gate and Casimir.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
I know it doesn't count. The Monkeys have been on fire, by the way. He hasn't even been doing anything, but his team is ridiculous. Thank God he didn't make the playoffs.
I don't think anybody made any roster changes in the consolation bracket. It's just the computer playing each other.
I know. I mean, that's why you don't. I mean, like, I love the idea of not even, like certainly not making any moves, because that should not be done anyway.
Actually, if anybody has made a human move, they should be disqualified from the consolation bracket.
No, I think you should be able to make human moves on your team, like move players up and down. But no, you should not be able to bid on players or anything else.
I'm surprised my account has been deactivated. I haven't touched my account.
No, because you're technically not eliminated based on Yahoo's whatever bullshit. So yeah, because you're in the consolation final. That's another trophy maybe for Eugene to win next year.
So there's not only the tray, there's a consolation finals?
Yeah, I guess you're playing the Monkeys. Look at that. I mean, the Monkeys have been right. I mean, he rode Winston, AJ Brown, 25.4 points. Jay Washington, Barkley had 30.3, 10.5 from Goddard.
You're breaking a rule we're not allowed to talk about.
20 from Connolly, 26 from Miller. I know, that's it. I'm not going to actually go into any more. But yeah, his team has been good.
Good and terrible.
Exactly. Yeah, but nobody can. But it's interesting for future whatever. He was a week short.
Day late and a buck short.
Yeah, day late and a buck short.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else about your game with the Whalers?
I mean, your pregame analysis was actually spot on. It kind of came down to Sanders' performance, and on paper he had an excellent matchup, but he either goes for like 30 plus or he lays an egg, and he definitely laid an egg in this game, and that feels like it cost me.
Wow, I actually was right.
So
I've been spot on the Whalers analysis lately, because I also said the other thing. He said, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like in the first week, he said, had I played your roster, like, or whatever, he would have won. I mean, he ended up winning anyway against Nick and Jamie, but, like, I think he would have won going away in that game. I don't know if it was mine, but it was this broadcast has been. Someone who said it.
I mean, I don't feel like I lost this game. I feel like he won it. I mean, 140 points is not a bad performance. So, I guess you can look at my bench and be like, there are a few blunders, but at the end of the day, the guys that I played, I felt more secure in going in. It's not like they put up way more than my starters. So.
Yeah, I don't necessarily look at it as you losing or him winning, and just as the God saying, yeah, you're not. No.
The Whalers, I mean, they're an excellent team. They're loaded from top to bottom. And what can I say?
Yeah, more praise on the Whalers. How come his doesn't get a nefarious?
Well, I mean, I would be happy to hear a hissy fit from him if he loses.
Oh, you won't hear from him.
Yeah.
If he wins, I'm sure he'll come on the program next week. I'd love to have
Mm-hmm.
him. I mean, I don't know how much I'd love it. Also, it's very hard to do the post championship podcast because first of all, you're dealing with Christmas week. Second of all, you're dealing with there's no like game that So we're always like, oh yeah, we'll get to it. We don't have to do it on Wednesday. We don't have to. And the next thing you know, it's August.
So if we followed that
Yeah.
formula, the podcast would be on Christmas Day.
Yeah, so it's definitely not going to be, I mean, I remember one year we did do a podcast where we had like a retrospective with a whole bunch of teams. It was Odwin, it was Nick. Maybe we could try to do that on a Saturday or something, and then including Whalers if he wins and wants to come on. So we'll maybe we'll try to do that. Especially since we don't have the pressure of a game. All right, so yeah, I mean that pretty much does it. We've already covered way more than we should have, including the fact that I mentioned the consolation brackets. But yeah, we're coming up on the hour mark, which is really long for considering that there's only 2 games of importance that were played. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll come back. We'll actually break down the bronze medal game and the championship game right after this. So stay tuned, everyone. Championship / bronze medal week. We'll make sure to get your bronze medal game out of the way because we know you fall asleep if we're not talking about you. So the bronze medal game, the Blues versus Hackettstown Finest. Right now the projection is 127.95 to 116.40 in favor of the Finest. So you're going with Fitzpatrick this time.
I am. Yep, against Cincinnati, it's hard not to play them.
Yeah, Hopkins at Tampa Bay.
Good matchup.
Perryman versus Houston in that same game, so you'll have a huge. All your wide receivers will be locked up after Saturday. Chubb versus Baltimore. That's kind of a tough matchup, and Gurley at San Francisco. That's a little bit tough. Kelsey at Chicago. I mean, Kelsey's still been good, so you're going with Cook at Tennessee. And then Elliott and Buffalo. Elliott trying to win his bronze after certainly being responsible for a silver a couple of years ago. For Lombardi, Mahomes at Chicago. It's a little bit of a tough matchup there. Metcalf versus Arizona. Deebo Samuel, who did nothing in the last game, trying to play against the Rams. Aaron Jones at Minnesota. Also a tough game. Breida at the Rams. Not that great. Andrews at Cleveland. That is a good matchup there. Although Lamar was spreading it out to a bunch of different receivers, so who knows? Allen at Oakland. That should be a good matchup for him. Dan Bailey on Monday night, and the Baltimore defense. Well, you should win this. I was up until the last segment rooting for you to win this. Now I don't know. But I don't know if there's enough to overcome
what was said.
No, I'm just saying. Look, I mean, we had 2 matchups. It could have been. I mean, but you're clearly not Harlotsman Eric Groko material. I mean, you're more on the Scottco. Maybe form some kind of Sith lordship with Eugene. Or something, some other entity out there. Attack of the Clones.
Sith Lord minus the Shafto traits.
Yeah, I mean, so clearly, this is Scott Coe versus.
He's the Mandalorian. He's the Manilorian.
There you go. The Trade Federation or whatever is whatever. Scott Coe versus
He's the Manilorian.
That's Boba Fett, right? I haven't even seen it, but yes.
Yes.
The Mandalorians.
The Manilorian.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah. What do you think of me playing the Buffalo defense against New England? I think it's a risky play, but New England has really sucked on offense. So, and they can't protect Brady. I mean, they're not really prone to turnovers, but Buffalo's defense is pretty good. So
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a risky play, but the Whalers stole the Denver defense against the Lions, so I wasn't really happy about that. But they had a little more money, so they dished out some more. So I don't know. I'm gonna roll the dice with the Bills defense.
I'm just out of curiosity because I know everybody's all up in their business. Yeah, the Denver defense, whatever. But let's see. What did Tampa Bay do against 15 points last week? Yeah, okay. It's probably a good pick. I mean, look, this is one of those things also, Indianapolis is out there. That seems to be a highly touted defense playing Carolina. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, the Indy defense just gave up the 29 for 30 passing performance to Breeze. So.
Yeah, but it was Breeze at home on a Monday night. What do you think? With records to set,
yes, but
what do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
True, but I don't think they're that good. I don't think, and the Panthers offense. I mean, by you would know based on fucking DJ Moore and McCaffrey. I mean, they can put up some points.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. They put up the points in garbage time.
True.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, that game, actually, it was interesting. I was watching it, and then every time McCaffrey would score, he'd get, he'd lift up the points, but then he would lower my defensive points all game. Because I'm like, yeah. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They do put up points. They put up a lot of garbage time points.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. But I think, look, honestly, so does Detroit. Detroit scores a lot. They fumble a lot, but they put up a lot of points.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, without Stafford, their offense.
Yeah, what happened with that? You want to talk about a mysterious injury, Geese?
Yeah.
What happened there? What is it with you and QBs just getting injured in practice? What kind of practices are you running?
Matthew Stafford. Don't even start with that.
Practice? Isn't that the Allen Iverson? That's right.
What kind of practices are you running over there in Hackettstown, where these guys
talking
just
about
collapse?
Practice?
I had the blueprint to dish out some points, and Matthew Stafford fucked the whole thing up. What a beach. Back spasm, horseshit nonsense.
And now he's on IR, just out. Like, out of nowhere. Where did that fucker
And they didn't even put him on IR until, like, minutes before the game started.
Fucker came out of nowhere. Yeah, I don't know. That's one of the many things. But your reaction, I just find that your reaction this last season was not what it was a couple seasons ago. That was the difference. I mean,
Is this Lamar talking or McCaffrey? Are you wearing a Lamar jersey right now, or McCaffrey, or both?
I have like a combo jersey.
I'm sorry, am I talking to Lamar or McCaffrey right now?
You're not talking to either of them. They're out practicing right now.
All right,
what's your point there? Huh, Hannity?
You start doling out the compliments to everybody else, Lamar?
Look, this team is built on the back of DJ Moore and Devontae Parker and Waller and Fuller this week he's going to be playing. And Young Ho Koo and the Seattle defense and whatever jabroni we throw in at RB2. I don't know why you're focused on those two guys.
It's built on quad injuries, white running backs, Asian kickers.
We are a rainbow coalition over here.
Yeah. Talk about some diversity.
I know. I'm wearing my rainbow shirt. Everybody is welcome on this team.
Uh-huh.
Except for Elliot. Elliott can go fuck himself, as can Nick Foles. He's definitely not welcome on this team. So I'm imagining you're predicting yourself to win. You've already been doing it for the first half of the show.
I booked a third place finish.
Geese?
In that game, I gotta go with Manny Friedman all the way.
Yeah, of course. I know.
I'm not giving an extra $65 to Weiner Lombardi. Should I send it in as like Bitcoin to Cyberdyne? How do you want your payment, Lombardi?
God. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't see. I mean, look, yeah, I mean, basically all season long, there were these top 4 teams. Lombardi was just kind of in there. He didn't have the point totals, like we've said a million times. Eugene has had more points than he did, and he was just kind of around. And now he, now I think he takes his rightful place at 4th place. Although, rooting wise, that's a tough one. This one's a tough one. I don't know. Who do I root for?
Injuries.
No, what do I care? It's the end of the season. What do I care?
Yeah, true.
Somebody has to win. I guess you'd win a tie, so that's technically, if I vote present. I mean, Lombardi will certainly make me regret it if I root for him, and as will you, clearly. Oh my god! Thank God this wasn't a final. I think I'd want to do some Harry Carey. Fine. I guess I'll root for you.
All right.
Root for the team that accused you of insider trading? I don't think so.
Well, I'm saying I'll root for Hackettstown's finest.
All right.
Just because
Sounds
of the wild
good.
conspiracy theories. I mean, I do want you to start believing in the Well, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't want you to believe in the fantasy gods and just have them, bring the wrath of Khan down on you next season as you're like, no, I don't believe it. Why am I going through the trials of Job here? I don't know.
Well, I do feel like, at the beginning of this season, people were testing me out. They were giving me, some kind of weird trade offers. They were trying to see what kind of player I was.
Oh,
and,
absolutely, I'm sure that they were.
And I think they all realized that they can't mess with me, but, going into next year, I feel like maybe some guys that I bid on, people are they're just gonna snatch them away from me, just for spite. So I kind of have to be more on my toes. But that has nothing to do with fantasy gods. That just has to do with good play, kind of
trash talk.
Yeah, good play, trash talk, and earning respect. So.
No, I know. No, what has to do with fantasy gods is Derrick Henry and Tannehill going on an amazing run, starting it again.
Yeah, well.
Look at him get nauseous as soon as you mention those two names.
Yeah, those two guys make me want to vomit. It's true. So.
Well, we shall see.
We shall see. It was a good season. Thank you, and
good luck
time
to Lombardi.
To preview the big finale.
Yeah. All right. So, the Cleveland Indians take on the Chicago Cubs in the championship game. What happened? Wasn't there a rain delay in the 13th inning of that? I think you brought it up. Maybe we'll have a tie. I'll take it. A tie goes to me. Obviously, so, all right, getting out of the way, the projection is way in the favor of the Whalers right here. Right now, currently, it's actually increased even more than it was before. So 149.21 to 134.61, a 60% to 40% favor in favor of the Whalers. We know how Yahoo loves themselves some Whalers. They predicted them to go all the way. I think, are they Nate Silvering the polls in this one? I don't know. They're like, they're tipping their scales on the polls, like, we said it was this guy. We gotta keep going with this guy. All right. But let's get into the numbers and the matchups, and let's see if it actually is deserving. So, Deshaun Watson, ironically, Deshaun Watson sitting there. He would have been the one. I don't know. I don't think he would have made the championship game had his injury not inspired you to go. But he was the Hagglers. This could have been the quarterback we would have faced years ago. At Tampa Bay, great matchup for him there. Michael Thomas at Tennessee. What do you think about this matchup? I mean, look, Michael Thomas I think he needs 10 more receptions to set the single season record. I don't think.
Yeah, he'll have in the first quarter.
There's no bad matchup for Michael Thomas. He just catches everything that comes his way.
He does.
Just an absolute animal.
He does. He's going to get his points, but on the road he's not as good as he is at home. On the road, he's good, but at the Rams 18, at Seattle 16, at Jacksonville 16, 22 at Chicago. He did get 25 at Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay gives it up to everybody in Atlanta, only 10. Whereas at home, Houston 22. Well, Dallas 18.
Their offense is on a roll, though. I mean, the last couple weeks, they're going crazy, whether
absolutely.
At home or on the road. So I think that game actually is a shootout.
Yeah, well, that's true too. What's going on with Tennessee as well? I mean, look, I think, look, Michael Thomas is going to get points, and obviously you're going to play him no matter what. What's the weather? I got to start looking at the weather of this stuff. Clouds? Ooh, do I see clouds? Mostly cloudy. No rain. Well, this is clearly not updated because temperature 0 degrees. Is that actually right? Is it going to be 0? I don't know.
Yeah, there is a cold front coming through.
That's right. There's temperatures like that. 0 degrees Fahrenheit? That's very cold. That's like ice bowl weather. It can't be that in Tennessee. I don't know, whatever. Okay. Allen Robinson versus Kansas City. What do we think about that matchup? That's the Sunday night game. That's most likely, given the history of Whalers games, maybe he'll run away with it before then. But this is, I think Allen Robinson is the one that we're going to be watching at the end, when it's all said and done. Am I right? Yes. And we're going to say, can he do it? Can he overcome blah? So is he going to do it? Is Allen Robinson going to win it against Kansas City on Sunday night? How many points is he going to get? Gentlemen? He's going to get 20. He's going to get about 20.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been excellent recently.
Yeah, and actually, this was the first time I watched the Bears game because it was the only game that I had on here. And he's, I see why the Bears, because the Bears just fling it out there, him and Miller. I get it. I get why they get so many points, So, I say 20 for Robinson. I think that's, so if we don't have at least a 20-point lead going into the Sunday night game, we're going to be very nervous. Melvin Gordon versus Oakland. Now, Melvin Gordon did not do that well last week. But, what did he fumbled twice. Started getting Eckler some touches there, and even Justin Jackson to punish him. But Melvin Gordon, look, he's going to have a bounce-back game. He's playing Minnesota. Now he's playing Oakland. I think, you could expect something much better than he did last week.
Melvin Gordon is a fumbler.
He is a fumbler, but, it doesn't mean... he's playing Oakland.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mixon at Miami, dear God, how many points is this guy going to get? This guy...
25 plus, yeah.
I mean, this guy, first of all, Miami is like the best defense to run against. And this guy got 18 against New England. He had 27 against Cleveland. I mean, this is, for the Whalers, when he talks about his 200-point games, this guy's going to be the guy. That really worries me. Zach Ertz versus Dallas worries me as well. Only because there's nobody else to throw to there. And he constantly throws to Zach Ertz. When there were other receivers available.
I mean, Mixon clearly doesn't want the number one pick. I mean, he's going off, but, I mean, if I was the Bengals, I would bench him just to tank and get the number one pick.
I don't think it's, well, I don't know. They're playing Miami. I mean, the number one pick crap. I don't know. Just play. You play to win the games.
I agree, but I mean, Cincinnati is like, they're a crappy ass organization, so.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, look, if they want to bench Mixon, I'm not going to object. I mean, but generally
they're not going to bench him, and he's going to put up points. I think that projection is low. He's going to put up 20,
that is low. He's going to put up, he's going to put up way more than that. I agree with that. Ertz is close to what I think it'll be. I think it'll be 17. I think it's a little bit low. Lockett versus Arizona. I mean, this is
another
an interesting
good matchup.
Yeah, I mean, so it's definitely a good matchup, but I mean, and Lockett went off last week with 26 points. I don't know. I honestly don't know in this one. Like this is a boom or bust player. I don't know, because I mean, look, early in the season he was much more consistent. But then since week 12, 4.8, 0, 8.3, and then the 26. But this is a fantastic matchup. I mean, so I don't know. He's definitely boom or bust. I mean, there's other options. I mean, look, Singletary, Whalers is not going to play because he's playing at New England. Shepard at Washington, I don't know. He picked up Golden Tate at Washington. I mean, maybe you put him there. I mean, either of those guys. I mean, if you want to talk about sticking it to somebody, that's somebody that you stick it to me with. Golden Tate, who I had, there you go. The little shiv there. Atlanta versus Jay. I mean, but and then the other guys are in. So yeah, I mean. And then, of course, the MVP of his team, Tucker at Cleveland. I'm hoping he's getting a lot of extra points and not field goals in this game. And then, obviously, as we mentioned, the Denver defense versus Detroit. So, I mean, there it is. For the 1603ers, we have... Who do we have playing at quarterback? Geese?
Who do you think? I don't know. Maybe the league MVP. Battling it out with RB1 league MVP. AKA two-man squad, Dave Harbacken. Tupac. Start calling you Tupac. A two-trick pony.
We will be starting Lamar as well as McCaffrey this
week. Yeah. I didn't even want to hear this analysis.
I mean, what do you think of their matchup? Lamar's playing Cleveland and McCaffrey's playing Indianapolis. How many points do you think the two of them combine for?
I don't know.
Because clearly I'm only a two-man team, so it only matters between those two.
Whatever it is, I'll take the over, Bob.
Look, the Indianapolis run defense is supposedly I mean, they're ranked like 26. They're good. They're good. They're in the red. We're in the red. I mean, look, those are those are two players I'm playing no matter what. I mean, what about, Jackson at Cleveland?
I don't care who he's playing.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever.
Is it rush for 100 or throw for 5 TDs? Or both. Or both.
I'll take both. Yeah, those two are gonna do what they do. DJ Moore at Indianapolis. They have a weak secondary. I think that he does okay. He's been doing I mean, he actually worried me last week, but he ends up, even in garbage time, getting points. I think he'll stay in his normal range. Will Fuller at Tampa Bay. Of course, Will Fuller's questionable, but it looks like he's going to play. He's always questionable. But Tampa Bay, the best team to play a wide receiver against. We've been stashing him on our bench in the hopes that we'd make the finals so that we could play him. Now we get the opportunity to. Now, granted, Watson will be throwing to him. But if he were to be the one, I mean, this is, does Watson throw the touchdowns to DeAndre Hopkins or does he throw it to Will Fuller? Because we can take some points away from Watson there. And we do get the benefit of the extra, so like the yardage is better for the receiver and you get the PPR. So I'm hoping for some Will Fuller touchdowns. Even though I don't know, it's like how good do you want that game? Like how many points do you want that game to go? I don't know, because it's like you don't want Watson to have too much success, but you want your receiver to have some success. So I just hope that the touchdowns go to Fuller. We're going to skip over the RB2 for a second because I don't know what I'm going to do there. That's the only question mark I have. Waller at the Chargers. I like that matchup. Devontae Parker, he's been listed as questionable, but I mean, he's going to play. I mean, still, I think because of the concussion stuff, but he's still going to play. Versus Cincinnati. That's a good matchup. If he doesn't go, I still have Tyler Boyd playing against Miami, so it's that same game. So he'll just fill in there. Koo with the mysterious left foot whatever playing against Jacksonville, and then Seattle defense versus Arizona. Arizona does turn it over, so I do feel decent about that matchup. And then the RB2. This is the one place that we've been lacking all season. Kerryon Johnson's supposed to be reactivated this week. If he does, I think I'm going to give him a chance. This is the guy that I traded for. This is the guy that I wanted out of the trade. And if he's going to make the return, then let's see what he does. We've been putting up like 170 something without an RB2. It would be nice to actually get some points out of it. That being said, we're going to monitor the situation. I mean, like, basically the draft stuff that because I know the receivers that I'm playing this week. So my pickups were largely just running backs. We already had Duke Johnson, but he's playing Tampa Bay. That's a tough matchup. We picked up Boone in the hopes that Dalvin Cook, that we won the Dalvin Cook lottery now that Madison's also injured. But Dalvin Cook says his shoulder is fine. I don't know. This is the problem. So Boone was, we're not going to know. And the problem is he plays on Monday night. So we're not going to get the injury report, and I can't just be sitting there with my thumb up my ass waiting for the report on Dalvin. Like, all right, is he going to go? I have to go out to the field myself. Where's that game? Green Bay. I'm going to have to fly out to Green Bay and throw out my own banana peel if my championship comes down to this RB2 needing something and I just need Boone to get something and then Dalvin Cook's in there. So I don't know. So I went out, I picked up Boston Scott, I picked up Royce Freeman, and then I picked up Kerryon Johnson. These are all players that are supposed to play in the afternoon game on Sunday. So that I can monitor the Boone situation to see if it'll be Boone or bust. So if there's like some kind of conclusive no, Dalvin Cook is out prior to the afternoon games on Sunday, then we will consider, if then we'll put in Boone. But if we don't get a definitive word prior to that, I think we're going to have to go with one of those guys. And then, there's the question with Boston Scott. Is Howard going to play? Is he not? There's a bunch of stuff running over that. Freeman is not that good, but we'll see. And then is Kerryon Johnson even going to play? So, I don't know. And how much is he going to play? I mean, like they said his recovery was good, but I don't know. Ironically, and then there's Chris Thompson, who's just the placeholder right now. I really don't think that he's going to play. I don't know. I mean, for some reason, they finally seem to be, with this new coach, they finally seem to be giving it to Adrian Peterson a little bit. So, I don't know. Yeah, and I don't think we're going to play Duke Johnson, one, because he's playing Tampa Bay, and two, because it's on Saturday. So, but that's really the only decision that I have to make, unless there's injuries, in which case I'll make adjustments. But, yeah. Well, obviously, you know that I always pick my opponent, and I'm certainly not going to change that for this game. I will I mean, we're in the championship. This is not exactly my, no pun intended, my forte. Yeah, I'm picking the Whalers. What do you say yourself? You're both of you. Is Manny? Are you still awake?
He's snoring.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm picking Lamar and McCaffrey to outscore everyone.
You're really gonna pick a 1603er team?
I'm picking Lamar McCaffrey to outscore all the rest of the players on your team and outscore the Whalers team.
Interesting. Well, we know you're rooting for me at least, right?
I'm not picking you. I'm picking Lamar and McCaffrey. I'm picking both of those guys to be on my team next year.
How much are you gonna pay? How much are those two guys gonna go for?
I don't care, but I'm getting it. And then you can gawk at my two-man team.
Do you think McCaffrey goes over 100?
It's going to be as close as it's ever been to $100. All I'm saying right now is enjoy those two players hard.
Oh, I am. Look,
nifting them next year.
Oh, trust me. I know. Part of the reason why I'd like to win is because I know that I'm not going to. I mean, maybe if I want to unload my bankroll on one of them, I can get them. But there's no like. I mean, what do you think? 150 for the package for the combo meal? It'll cost next year.
Minimum.
Because I mean, quarterbacks generally go. So I mean, I'm thinking McCaffrey's going for around 100, and I think Lamar will go for around 50.
Yeah, you're not sniffing those players next year. So enjoy them while you have them.
This is this is their last game with the 1603 most likely, unfortunately.
They're going to be haggled off of your team.
Oh, believe me, I know. There's not going to be any, oh, you paid that much? For the white guy? With everybody overlooking Lamar? No, I know. So, yeah. Plus, we also do terrible on on those years, after, we have the finals loss hangover. Next year is a year like the one like last year where we had Melvin Gordon and the other guy, whoever it was, and they all went down injured, and we had what you dubbed the worst team that you've ever seen fielding in a playoff game. So I'm not portending a successful campaign in 2020, and I don't want to look back in hindsight with 2020. Yes, I'd like to win this game. There's no question about it. But, I feel like we can be competitive. I do. And like I said, and this is the reason why I don't, why I really will be sad if I lose. But I'm not going to be, I don't know, whatever. It's like, what else am I going to do? This is the team that we're putting out there. I've known this for weeks, essentially. If there's injuries and shit that happen, then I'm going to be, annoyed about that, and I'm just going to be like, the curse of the I want it all, I want it now, rearing its ugly head, but, yeah, this is it. It seems like everybody else is rooting against me also. Manny's rooting against me, obviously Whalers is, his Scott cohort. Lombardi's rooting against me. Eugene is on the fence, though we know he's not rooting for me. Who else is there? I've been getting kind words from Nick and Dr. Hockey. The Harlots of my Nary Groko. I mean, yeah. I have that rivalry riding on my back, as does he riding on his. But then again, Scottco is kind of a top-down organization, if he lets everybody down, it doesn't matter. He'll just use them as this fodder for next year as he just stores people. Or does whatever Scottco things that he's cooking up there. Colluding with Luigi. Or was that Mario? In that picture, that was a fantastic picture. Yeah, I don't know. This is a good finals. This is a good championship game. You know, how many championship games have we actually gone into where one, you kind of just, think you know who's going to win? Most of them seem to be that. Like, there's a heavy favorite. This is the first time, I think, where the non-first place team is actually the favorite in terms of the percentages and the projections and everything else. That just shows you a lot of how competitive this one is going to be. So generally going into it, you think, even the one with you and I mean, yes, it ended up being like the upset of of all upsets in the center. But certainly there was a heavy favorite in that one. This is this is not that. And then just the history between these two teams and organizations wide, and the fact that we do have our backers, because a lot of these games it's like like Eugene versus Whalers, it's like, well, it's Scottco, so can I really root for Scottco? But then can I root for Eugene and stuff like that? For you and I, obviously there's when you and I played each other, there's rooting interest for a lot of other teams, but it's not the same because it's it's an intramural whatever championship. But Scottco versus Harlet's Minari Groko, come on, we have those old rivalries sitting out there. So it's a good matchup. It's a good matchup all around. I'm very happy with this. I might not be happy with the result. We'll see, but I'm happy with the matchup. I'm glad to be playing Whalers. I know maybe in the back of his mind after week 10 or whatever it was that he might be fearing some shenanigans. It's not going to happen this time. I'm not really. Like I said, I'm going to play. I'm just putting my players out there. Really, the only decision I have to make is RB2, and I already have the ones that I'm choosing from on my team. I'm not shenaniganizing. I'm not trying to take anything out of them. I'm just let's go head to head. Let's go head to head and let's play each other and let's may the best team with, as you said, Lamar Jackson and McCaffrey win.
Exactly. May the best Lamar and McCaffrey team win. Under the guise of sportsmanship.
But it is sportsman. Can you, look at what the Whalers has done. This guy was 0.26 from being eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
If Wentz throws to anybody else for that touchdown, he's not even in this conversation. He's out after a fantastic season. He would have been eliminated weeks ago. Do you really something is shined upon this team, makes you nervous.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it doesn't make Lamar and McCaffrey nervous.
I forgot Hannity. I forgot.
The Geiger meter is going into the red again. You had me there. It was in the middle. I actually was starting to believe, and then that last statement.
What?
Heaven, let your light shine down.
Which
Lathering on the BS.
Which part was BS?
You've done so much to try and keep the bulletin board material off of. Whalers had the tax out. You almost tacked in some stuff, but you've been so diplomatic.
I'm sorry.
A light is shined upon this team. What a pile of horseshit. This show's a pile of hits. As he's taking pictures, he's taking selfies of himself in his Lamar Jackson jersey right now. The light is shined upon this team. Ooh, get this side of Lamar. We're probably going to see Dave Harbakian be blackface next Halloween. He's gonna be Lamar Jackson. Harbakian, you've got the two biggest weapons in the entire league this season. You steamrolled your way through the league with 2 guys. Hasn't really been tough, huh?
It has. We didn't even get first place until last week.
The only 3 losses you had is because you fumbled up. You couldn't put these 2 guys in the same lineup. 3 times. I told you 3 times. And those are your only 3 losses. How convenient. After a while, you got smart and said, I'm just going to leave these 2 fuckers in the lineup. You haven't lost since.
And I'm going to trade their backups.
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable.
Ride or die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do we say that? This will be the ultimate test of can you win it in the auction? I mean, how many times do we say you can't win it in the auction? You can lose it in the auction, but you can't win it.
Until Lamar.
Well, Shauna that year won it with Devonta Freeman and Gronk. She won it in the draft. Although I feel it's much easier to win it in a draft because you don't have the you could just pick. You don't have the competition if you just happen to get the lucky spot or whatever. Whereas the auction, it's much harder to do it. Everybody's going for it. Like I said, if this was a draft next year, there's a chance that I could get McCaffrey. There's a chance I could not. He's gonna go 1 or 2, Whereas in an auction, it's a totally different ballgame. We would have to spend to get him, and I don't know if we're willing to. Not that I'm saying anything to you, Booby Lamar. Don't worry. Don't be insulted by that. I'm saying that you will get your payday. Somebody will pay you lots of fantasy dollars next year. We'll see if it's me. Yeah, I think 150 is the combo meal is what that's going to go for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I don't know. Man, that's a daunting projection. We'll see. Good luck to Whalers.
Oh, yeah.
What? That's true. I can't even say that, Hannity. What's going on? I can't even wish the man luck. He's not going to need it. He knows it. He's getting 200 points this week. Did your Geiger meter go?
It broke.
No. It's going to be a good game. That actually is true.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is. It's going to be a fantastic game.
And I agree with it. It's going to be a great game for Lamar and McCaffrey.
They'll have decent games, but it's going to come down to Allen Robinson on the Sunday night at 5:20 or like at 8:20 or whatever it is. That's going to be the game. That's going to decide it. And it's really what Allen Robinson does. That's going to decide who is the champion. And honestly, it's an ironic place to be, being that, I mean, how many times did he try to peddle away Allen Robinson for scraps or like actually for good players, and he was like, and everybody else was like, no, Allen Robinson, who is this jabroni? And he's the guy that the entire season is going to basically rest on, I think. So it's interesting. Just a little extra there. But yeah, that's my prediction. And and of course, as I said, I'm picking Whalers. We can't get Manny's prediction because he went to sleep after we were no longer talking about him. But we do know that he is picking the Whalers, and he's rooting for the Whalers. Congratulations, Whalers! You have a defector. He is rooting for you. He is, like I said, Scott Coe / actually, he's more Eugene material. But, all right. I guess that does it. Any other comments on the season? I think this... Well, first of all, this has been just the most amazing season that I think that we've ever had.
Yeah, as far as top to bottom competitiveness, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this has been amazing. I hope that next year...
The Lions.
What's that?
Except for Zamunda.
Well, and they didn't even win the trade. And see, that's how competitive it was. The Lions were terrible, but yet they had an impact on a couple huge games, and they didn't even win the tray.
Yeah.
No, this has been fantastic. I hope next year is just as good, if not better. I mean, obviously Manny will be back. I don't even know if there's going to be turnover. I hope there's not, because I'd love to line up these same teams. Looks like the Monkeys might be returning. Give it a go at a full season. We'll see. Yeah, this has just been fantastic. So, congratulations to everybody on your positions. And yeah, start sitting for the off season, or just enjoy the holidays. It's the end of the.
And get the controversy out of the way. Payouts come at the end of the first full week in January. I want to hear the memes of me wearing mink coats down the street.
That's going to be coming from them.
It's absurd, okay? The end of the first week in January, so you can save it for your nonsense memes.
It's going to definitely be coming from Lombardi. He's the conspiracy theorist in chief. He's going to be out there.
So I hope he loses. I don't have to pony up another $65 to him.
Oh, man, if he gets that 65, that's going to be the first thing he's going to be saying. Where's my money? It's Christmas.
Yelling for the money early.
Where's my money?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Festivus. Happy Hanukkah. Kwanzaa, whatever, and Happy New Year, of course. We look forward to seeing you next season. We will try to get another a post-season podcast where we just go over the entire season and I'd like to get as many people as we can on that one if we're going to do just a discussion of everything else. I would like to talk to the Whalers about, and anybody else about starting, like a video game league, what were we talking about? Like a Madden league or something? We got to go over that kind of stuff. And of course, Center Bowl 21 in Denver, Colorado. Please join us. It will be a lot of fun there. You might not remember it. Why can't I remember a single thing from last night? Because we obviously had a great fucking time. So by all means, join us. Leave the kids at home. So for an unconscious Manny-Lorian.
The Manny-Lorian. I love it. Bozo Fett. Bozo Fett stars as the Manny-Lorian.
No, Booger Fett.
Oh, Booger Fett. Booger Fett stars as the Manny-Lorian.
I know.
Don't miss a single episode. Booger Fett as the Manny-Lorian.
See, this is why you don't go to sleep on the podcast. All right. So for Booger Fett, Kazeletsky, and myself, thanks so much for everything this year. This has been a fantastic year. I look forward to it next year, and happy holidays to everyone. All right. Yeah, we'll see you next season.
All right, peace out.